she has no idea what's coming.
It's insane. It's actually insane to watch. And
It Ends With Us actor is claiming Blake Lively's twisted facts and bombshell lawsuit. She never complained on set.
What if everything you believed about Blake Lively's involvement in It Ends With Us was just a carefully polished facade? Shocking new claims from behind the scenes are emerging, offering a very different perspective on her behavior during production. These allegations could completely shift your perception of Blake and raise some serious questions she might not want answered.
And her entire team colluded for months to destroy reputations through a complex web of lies, false accusations, and manipulation of illicitly received communications. The ongoing public interest in this case online has ironically shed light on the undeniable facts pertaining to the New York Times and how heavily Miss Lively and her representatives were not only deeply involved in the attempted takedown and smear campaign of Mr. Baldoni, Wayfair Studios, and their teams, but that they themselves initiated it. Now, what this actually means is that all those TikToks and metadata that we've been reporting on, and so many of you guys have been reporting on, it's been making a difference. As teams getting it, it's affecting this case. It's bringing new evidence to light. So we should not stop. We are not harassing. We are doing our homework. And I think Blake Lively and team are very terrified by it. And that all those TikToks, metadata, etc., are the reason for this amended complaint.
What if Blake Lively's glowing public image as Hollywood's beloved Golden Girl was nothing more than an expertly managed illusion? For years, Blake's been celebrated for her charm, charisma, and seemingly perfect life from her gossip. Girl days to her idyllic marriage with Ryan Reynolds. She's not just seen as an actress, she's branded as a fashion icon, a devoted mom, and the definition of wholesome stardom. But is that reality, or a role she's been playing for the cameras? Her rise to fame appears effortless, but many insiders say it was anything but accidental. Blake's always known how to control a narrative, carefully shaping her reputation through calculated moves. From witty talk show appearances to endearing Instagram captions, everything she puts out adds to the flawless image fans adore. Rarely involved in online drama or public mishaps, her clean slate isn't luck, it's strategy. So what happens when the mask slips? On the set of It Ends With Us, things allegedly weren't as perfect as Blake's public persona would suggest. According to crew members, a very different version of her existed when the cameras weren't rolling. And now, with the release of a new documentary trailer titled It Ends With Justice, those whispers are becoming louder. In one standout clip, a producer bluntly claims that the truth about Blake's on-set behavior is finally coming to light. That's not a statement made lightly, especially about someone who's been so carefully protected by public favor. Brings up an uncomfortable reality. How much of what we admire in celebrities is real, and how much is meticulously manufactured to look that way? There's growing speculation that Blake's image has worked like a shield deflecting criticism, dodging drama, and silencing dissent. After all, how do you question someone who always seems poised, polished, and perfectly relatable? But cracks may finally be showing in that polished exterior. Rumors from the set hint at clashes, dominance plays, and most surprisingly, allegations that some team members were prevented from speaking up in order to preserve Blake's image. If this documentary delivers what it promises, it could unravel the tidy story that's followed her for years. Blake has long been seen as untouchable, admired by fans, and respected by brands. But these behind-the-scenes accounts paint a picture of imbalance and control. And these aren't just random online theories, these are claims coming from people who were reportedly there. The bigger question now is, has Blake Lively managed her image so effectively that no one felt empowered to speak the truth till now? As buzz around the documentary builds, the protective curtain might finally fall. What really happened during filming? And why were those closest to the process kept quiet? If even half of what's being said is true, the public's view of Blake may be about to change dramatically.
So, from the outset, the feud's been framed as the newest chapter in Hollywood's ongoing fight for gender equality. It's rekindled this dormant debate about SH and power dynamics, and we'll see how it plays out, but there's another possibility, one that has less to do with gender than it does with simple cultural misunderstandings. What if much of it, the alleged inappropriate hugging, which Blake mentioned in her new amended suit, the pre-filming praying, could be explained as a clash between a very specific faith-driven community with its unique mores and a much more modern post-Me Too one with its own set of beliefs and commandments. It's a good point. It's a good question. They went through and interviewed many people, past colleagues, etc., and people in the faith and people of Justin's background, and they talked about it. They went into more detail. Speaking to someone, the Justin that I know isn't capable of doing the things that he's accused of doing because he truly sees himself as his feminist. But Blake clearly got grossed out. I honestly feel like it was the perfect storm of two opposing personalities. When Baldoni and Wayfair execs hold meetings, they often start by asking participants to go around the table and share something private, something that brings them joy and has nothing to do with their jobs or their career. In certain professional circles, like those of yoga instructors or doulas, this type of icebreaker might be welcomed, but among time-crunched agents, entertainment lawyers, studio execs, Blake Lively's, folks not exactly known for their touchy-feely ways, a gesture like this nature comes with risks. In my head, I was like, I'm sorry, are we at Cafe Effing Gratitude? Said a female executive at a production company who sat down with Wayfair executives last year, including Baldoni. Why are you imposing your culture on this meeting that's being held at our offices? I can't explain exactly why, but it made me so uncomfortable.
This wasn't just a film shoot. It was a pressure cooker where egos collided. Tensions escalated, and allegations of behind-the-scenes manipulation began to seep through. On the outside, the production of It Ends With Us looked like a picture-perfect romance drama led by fan favorites Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Their public image, charming, cooperative, and unshakably professional. But the documentary It Ends With Justice is now pulling back that polished curtain, teasing a much messier reality. Beneath Blake's composed press appearances and red carpet, smiles, insiders suggest the filming atmosphere was anything but harmonious. According to early whispers, what seemed like typical production stress was actually something more serious: conflicts. Rooted in power and control that shaped the entire experience for those on set, while Blake maintained her image as the poised, leading lady, several crew accounts point to a different story. One where some voices were suppressed to keep her reputation untouched. She wasn't just the face of the film source's claim, she held substantial sway over the creative decisions, including tone and direction. That level of influence has now become a central issue in this growing drama. A crew member involved in the documentary described the set as anxiety-filled, with people constantly worried about what they could or couldn't say. Everything they claim was done to maintain a careful image around Blake, and the tension didn't stop there. Justin Baldoni, renowned for being easy to work with allegedly faced friction of his own. Rumors suggest he clashed with Blake over creative differences, particularly over how key scenes should play out, according to one person close to the project. There were moments when things turned uncomfortably personal, catching the entire team off guard, though no official comments had been made by Blake's camp. Their silence has only intensified speculation. If what the filmmakers are suggesting is accurate, the set didn't just suffer from stress, it became an environment where people felt coerced into staying quiet. Documentary insiders claim some team members were so afraid of backlash or professional consequences that they chose not to speak at all. As one of the documentary producers put it, the first voices to vanish were the ones that might have told the truth. That statement alone lifts this beyond mere creative disputes. It paints a picture of a calculated effort to suppress inconvenient truths. So far, the documentary trailer stops short of revealing any hard proof, but it hints heavily at a cache of internal messages, audio clips, and direct testimonies waiting in the wings. Though the public hasn't seen these receipts yet, the filmmaker's confidence in moving forward strongly suggests there's substance behind the claims. One specific situation they mention involves formal complaints made during production, being brushed off entirely by senior staff. On the surface, those moments might appear minor, but collectively they represent a bigger issue. Crew members say they were ignored, their concerns minimized. Now, as legal and reputational consequences loom, bigger question arises. When the dust settles, whose version of the truth will the public believe? This unfolding conflict isn't just about what happened on set, it's about how tightly the narrative was controlled and who was left voiceless in the process.
As well as actor is claiming Blake Lively's twisted facts and bombshell lawsuit, she never complained on set. Now, this is actor Adam Monsheen. Sorry if I'm not saying that right. He portrayed Dr. Dunbar, the actor who was her OBGYN, the one who delivered the baby, the one that Blake Lively accused of being, creepy. I don't know what she was even trying to allude, but tried to claim that because he was friends with Justin, it was inappropriate that he was cast as the doctor. Here he is. We actually, full disclosure, we've reached out to him. He never responded. We're reaching out to everybody, guys, for our documentary. So make sure you're supporting. And hopefully we will follow up and see if he's now willing to finally speak, if he'll come on and elaborate a little further. But incredibly nice to see him, and I hope more, speak out. Here he is talking about that specific scene. I'm not going to speculate as to Miss Lively's motivations for mentioning me in the complaint. Needless to say, my experience working with her is very different than the one she described in her lawsuit. Indeed, I was surprised to read her description of the scene. Now, for those of you who don't recall this, let's go through it. Again, he was mentioned in the amended complaint. There was obviously a lot of other accusations that she's making. But this scene where his friend was cast as the OBGYN, she claimed in the suit that the director introduced his best friend to play the role of the OBGYN, which ordinarily a small role of this nature would be filled by a local actor, some rando. But no, Justin hired his actual professional actor friend who lived in New York. Miss Lively felt the selection of Mr. Baldoni's friend for this intimate role, in which the actor's face and hands were in close proximity to her nearly unclothed area for a birth scene, was invasive and humiliating.
Was Blake Lively truly cleared by the justice system, or is there more lurking beneath the headlines? When Justin Baldoni's defamation lawsuit against Blake was tossed out, many assumed it was a full vindication for the actress. But the minds behind it ends with justice argue that a court dismissal doesn't equal exoneration. All it means is that the case didn't meet the legal threshold to proceed. It's not an affirmation of Blake's narrative bias, a procedural outcome, and one that might leave the full story untold. The filmmakers insist that the public only saw the surface while the deeper context was buried beneath red tape and rigid legal standards. Court dismissals can stem from all kinds of technicalities, paperwork errors, late filings, or evidence not meeting strict admissibility rules. And even in the absence of indisputable proof, compelling stories can still hold truth. That's where the documentary team sees an opportunity. They believe the public mistook the legal shutdown as a stamp of innocence, when in fact, it may have simply blocked a more complicated reality from surfacing. A striking line from the trailer makes this clear. Dismissed doesn't mean justified. It sets the tone for a deeper dive into what the courtroom never revealed, adding fuel to the fire. The documentary suggests that crucial pieces of evidence weren't included. In Baldoni's case, whether these were left out due to legal restrictions or strategic choices by his team remains unanswered. But the filmmakers say they possess independent documentation, everything from behind-the-scenes audio to internal emails and eyewitness accounts from crew members who felt silence during filming. While none of these were submitted in court, they argue this material paints a fuller, more disturbing picture. This raises a glaring question. If the evidence is so impactful, why didn't it surface sooner? The creators remain vague, but imply that there were powerful forces at play, individuals with industry clout allegedly working behind the curtain to protect Blake's public persona. Whether or not those allegations hold water, it ends with justice positions itself as the outlet for truths the court system never addressed. Through this film, producers aim to shine a spotlight on the evidence that was shut out of legal proceedings. They're challenging the idea that Blake emerged from the scandal untouched, urging viewers to rethink what they've read. If what they've uncovered is as revealing as they claim, Blake's reputation, long shielded by her polished image, could face its biggest test yet. At the center of it all are the people who witnessed it firsthand, the crew. Their voices might finally bring clarity to what really happened behind the scenes.
It's insane. It's actually insane to watch, and I'm very surprised that she felt comfortable enough to say all of this out loud. And I don't feel like it's taking things out of context. I don't feel like it's manipulating her to look a certain way. This is her talking. This is her interview where she is being honored. And I have questions. strength. It's almost
Yeah, like Forbes Power Women, and
Yeah.
she's so confident. Exactly, I think that's so telling how confident she is to just say, I have no qualms lying to the director, taking control of their movie, pulling the rug from them. Like, oh my God, it's like unreal. Here we go. Let's not bury the lead. Here's the clip.
It's just as important to say, okay, I believe in this, and that's why I'm standing up for it, and that's why I'm not being difficult. And then there are other moments to go like, am I the asshole in the room? Like, what is happening here? I would show up on a set. I knew that they just wanted me to show up and look cute and stand on a little pink sticker where I'm supposed to go and say what I'm supposed to say. But I also knew that like that wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character. And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that once they saw that I was able to offer that. And sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled. So I think that for them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull because you're like, you're trying to assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do. And so it was a really strange position to be in because I felt like,
The crew may hold the truth, but going against major Hollywood stars like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds comes with heavy consequences. What many fans don't realize is that crew members are not background players. They see everything. Subtle power plays to full-on disputes are present for every behind-the-scenes exchange that never reaches the public. These are the accounts it ends with. Justice aims to spotlight, and their insights may dramatically shift the way we view the making of It Ends With Us. The filmmakers stress the importance of giving these voices a platform. They believe the crews. Stories dismantled the carefully maintained narrative promoted by studio reps and celebrity PR teams. But sharing these accounts isn't without sacrifice. Speaking out in Hollywood means risking job security, future opportunities, and even being pushed out of the industry. When someone with Blake Lively's influence is involved, that risk intensifies tenfold. Her image doesn't just generate headlines, it commands respect and holds weight within the studio system. So what exactly are these crew members revealing that puts them in such precarious positions? While the documentary hasn't released full details, it's hinted that Blake's public image may be at odds with how she conducted herself on set. To her followers, Blake comes across as down-earth and genuine. But some insiders suggest her off-camera presence was far more controlling, so much so that opposing her on set came with professional consequences. According to the filmmakers, crew members felt they had no choice but to comply with unreasonable demands, fearing retaliation if they spoke up. This isn't an isolated problem. It reflects a long-standing pattern in Hollywood where those without star power are expected to stay silent. Over time, this culture of silence has protected powerful names while marginalizing the very people who build the sets and run the productions. This documentary is looking to break that cycle. The creators are emphasizing the courage it takes for these individuals to come forward, or calling attention to the emotional and professional burden these whistleblowers face, especially when going up against the machinery that props up Hollywood elites. One moment teased in the trailer captures this, a crew member describing the atmosphere as oppressive, and fears of speaking out as overwhelming. Even that lone description paints a picture of a set far from the polished one shown in press interviews. And if the rest of the documentary's claims hold true, crew's perspective could challenge the entire version of events Blake's team has pushed. Still, the road to revealing the truth isn't simple, as we're about to see. Confronting the power structure of the entertainment world isn't just a media risk, it comes with emotional, legal, and financial strain. But for those willing to speak up, this could be the start of reshaping the industry from the inside out.
When I first read Blake's lawsuit, I read that kind of in horror, like, oh my God, they really left her out to dry like that in stirrups with only a cloth covering it? Like, what the heck? As I read that, I assumed, why would she make this up? She's a pretty big deal. She's got a lot of power. Like, why would she want to risk putting such a big lie out there? That could also be easily proven false, but she did it. She leveled down, she tripled down, she keeps doing this. And so to finally have an actor be like, no. You were wearing a whole getup, girl. You were not nearly unclothed. Nice try. We were there. I was literally there, and I did not see anything or try to look. And this implication that everybody was trying to sneak a look or get a piece or flirt or whatever with Blake Lively, to me, all of this just is only proving how insecure and crazy she in fact is, and how manipulative she is in trying to do all this, clearly to get control of this film, which she knew would be huge. And it's all just so sad because, look, again, I want to pump the documentary because I hope you guys will help support it. In fact, we have our With Hate Meghan premiere happening. We're going to be live literally at 3:30 today. I'm going to put a link at the end. Come join us live. We're going to talk about this and a lot of other updates that we had prepared, but I didn't want to wait on this. So I hope you'll join us, and I hope you'll support us on Patreon because we are reaching out to a lot of people. We actually have crew members that have spoken to us. We are attempting to get some more. We're deep into post-production, but continuing to do some more interviews, and everything I'm learning from this is just how manipulative she's been, how she's trying to rewrite the history of it all. And if she had just shut up, let the bad press over the summer die away, they would have had a hit movie on their hands. They could have progressed, moved forward. None of this, I think, would have happened. It's wild how she is tripling down and continuing to try to paint herself as a victim, as now the actual witnesses are coming forward and be like, no, nice try, girl. Not anymore. I can't sit back in silence. I got to defend Justin, and I got